think it's a great question. The kind of difference between the quality of food and food culture between Scotland and Italy, and whether I eat the same way here as I did back home. I think, as many other creators and cooks have said long before I did, there is far more of a focus on seasonality here in Italy, meaning basically just people pay more attention to the stuff that's in season. It's kind of more obvious in supermarkets and at markets, at greengrocers. Usually, even if you don't know anything about kind of the seasonality of food, the stuff that's cheaper is usually the stuff that's in season. Though that said, food and kind of fruit and veg in general is far cheaper in Italy than it is back in Scotland, for the fact that bloody nothing grows back home. So that said, I do find myself putting a bit more emphasis on, eating the autumn and winter veg and, kind of stuffing myself silly with summer fruit here in Italy than I would have back home. I'd say in the summer, the heat, just the climate in Italy, even in the north where it's less hot than down south, definitely affects the kind of foods that you want to eat. And when you eat also, you have a bit more willingness to eat far later into the evening. You actually have a desire for things that are cold and crisp and crunchy. You want to drink more water, you want to be more hydrated. The same goes for the winter back home in Scotland, in that you have far more of a desire to cook, to make something wholesome, to make something hearty that's going to stick around for a while. You're going to want to eat earlier in the day because you're probably going to want to go to bed earlier. And that's before we get into the the difference in cooking culture. Also, it's not considered a thing that's done kind of as widely back home for means of convenience as it is here in Italy. People are far more in tune with even traditional recipes, and have a far wider knowledge of their own food culture, I would say, though little knowledge of kind of other food cultures. So there's a million different ways I could answer this question, basically. I think the quality of the kind of base entry-level product, if you will, here in Italy is higher because people just care more about what they're putting in their bodies in that sense. The same also goes for alcohol. Whereas back home, because of the climate, because of the culture, because of lots of things, there's much more emphasis on comfort and convenience in many senses. I would say back home the biggest difference was the time of when I ate, and also when I ate my biggest meal, being kind of the morning or at dinner time. Whereas here in Italy, the biggest meal of the day is typically lunch. Breakfast is almost non-existent, and I eat more seasonally, almost by force. Those are probably the biggest differences. I hope that helps and it wasn't just complete scrambled egg of an answer.